A little dab will do ya. 1-cent bubble gum, 10-cent candy bars, 15-cent hamburgers.
Hamburgers, when a dollar went a long way, and so did 24 hours. The 60s and the 70s, dwelling place of the lost generation. We who grew up in this era had no real heroes. Our role models came from the imaginations of others. Our meager lives were formed by and revolved around weekly installments of our favorite TV programs.
Welcome to a place that your parents didn't understand. A place that exists somewhere between the forefront of recollectable memory and the edge of everyday thought. Welcome to the vast wasteland. Welcome home.
Good evening, and welcome to another exciting episode of Vast Wasteland. Yes, it's the show where we talk about 60s and 70s television. And today, we're in outer space! Yes! We're going to talk about science fiction and not Star Trek, basically. We already have done our big Star Trek show, so we're doing all science fiction in the 60s and 70s on television other than Star Trek. So we've got just loads of stuff to hit for tonight, so let's just, if Wilbert can stop playing with his little Terminator things, let's zip over to Wilbert with his first point for the evening.
Ooh, there was just a bunch of TV, a bunch of science fiction TV in the 60s and the 70s. My goodness, there were so many shows, we can't name them all.
Go ahead.
Oh, my. Of course, well, Star Trek was probably the biggest, but hey, before that we had shows like Lost in Space, and ooh, there was
My Favorite Martian.
Oh, My Favorite Martian,
yeah.
but we're probably gonna cover him in another one, actually, even though that is science fiction. That's good science fiction too. We'll cover My Favorite Martian in another show.
And why are we all talking like DJs? Not really sure.
And well, let's see now. Okay, now Lost in Space was probably the other big one from the 60s. I mean, big as far as having a family, and ooh, we're going to have this family, and they're going to Alpha Centauri. That was their
Which was regularly being done in the 60s.
Oh, yes, everybody wanted to go to Alpha Centauri. It was just the favorite place to go. But when they got up there, oh, by golly, what happened? An asteroid shower or something?
No, Dr. Smith threw him off balance with his extra... Okay, he was a stowaway.
Yeah,
the ship
that's
was
right.
not built to accommodate stowaways.
Well, no ships are.
If they were going to bring anything back with them, they couldn't because the ship wasn't built to take extra weight.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Smith actually threw him off course. It was his fault, as was everything that happened.
Right.
Okay.
His fault.
Mm-hmm.
Because he thought, now was Robot supposed to go with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Robot.
Yeah, that was an
but
essential
Dr.
part of
Smith
the whole
had built
thing.
Robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Robot, what a name.
Robot.
What a
Come over here,
robot. Danger!
Robot.
Warning! Danger!
Warning. Well, Robinson.
Giant
Warning.
smoke
Danger.
detector.
No, the thing to do Robot, you put your arm in your sleeve and you put out two fingers like that, and you, danger, Will Robinson, warning, danger. That's another one of those shows where, well, not so much that one, but shows that were based back on Earth. Well, this one was, well, the robot had the voice that was used for every alien that was ever on Lost, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which was another one of those big science fiction shows from the 60s, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Although that one was Earth-based more than being out in space, it was still considered science fiction because you have your nuclear-powered submarine here, although I guess anyway, you got a nuclear-powered submarine that had...
We could probably even show that nuclear-powered submarine.
It's the Seaview was the big ship
some
on there.
visual aids down here. Any day now they'll get around to getting those. But so go on.
You'll see them somewhere before the show's over.
Right.
And
we'll see them.
They had the flying sub, which was an amazing little thing. It was a two-person sub, yet it was probably bigger than any family car. and it's bigger than probably most two-person airplanes. But anyway, it had the capability of flying above the water. It could fly, and it could also go underwater as a submarine, and it was just an amazing thing there. Of course, Voice at the Bottom of the Sea was one of the many Irwin Allen science fiction TV
Irwin Allen
shows.
really irks me with he has no proportion in his mind. Land of the Giants. Today we're going to use the telephone. We're going to use a pencil to dial the phone, but it's like
then later
another shot. They're sitting on the phone, and and they're bigger than it is. And Jupiter 2, the thing that always got me about the Jupiter 2, when you saw it in space, it looked. But when it landed, it always seemed like it must have landed in a hole in the ground.
Right.
Because it was like a one-story. They walked right out of it onto the ground.
Right.
And so I was like, what? Did it always land in a crater? Did it dig a little hole and then land?
And you knew there were several stories because they kept using those tubes and going up and
they
down.
had the elevator.
Ladders.
I was like, if they went inside, they must be going down underground.
We figure.
Because,
like
but then when it
into
was
the
out
ground.
into the space, like you could see, it's like
what's the
it
deal?
looks big.
Yeah.
So I think Irwin Allen needed to take some art classes.
Well, that's the thing about the 60s. The 60s were the time where you could just suspend disbelief, or hope we hope that you could.
They hoped we could.
Which was why when Star Trek did come out, it was a lot of people really liked it because it did stay pretty much with the same parameters. They didn't jump from one size to another or something like that, or the things weren't all mixed up. But we've discussed that one, so we're going to talk about these that are just, I guess you consider them bad TV. Now, the Voice at the Bottom of the Sea thing, basically, I don't think they actually had a definite mission. They were just underwater all the time. It's a submarine, so of course they're underwater. Only time they seemed to come up above the water was when they were in the Arctic or the Antarctic, which didn't make sense to me.
Right. This would not be the place to come up with a submarine.
And yet, that's the only place where you saw them break the surface, so they could come up through all these ice flows and everything and be up there for a while. Why? I don't know. Maybe there were some people that were up there discovering things and they'd gotten stranded or something, so they had to come up. But anyway, the flying sub usually, whenever they had to make their trips anyplace else, they would use that and they'd fly to Washington or fly wherever else they had to go.
We gotta fly out here and get some money to run this ship. We gotta fly out here and get some food.
And you had your characters. So you have Admiral Nelson, Captain Crane, Sharky. Sharky was always down there. What did Sharky do? I don't even remember what Sharky did. And then there was
I didn't watch
somebody else that was like a lieutenant or somebody that was always on. And then Kowalski. Kowalski was always there. Kowalski was like the Chekhov of the show.
Yeah.
Kowalski always got hurt, but yet Kowalski was always back around and come back again. And Sharky, I guess Sharky must have been the engineer, and that just makes sense to me.
I think so.
And
the Irwin Allens were the ones where we take this group of people, unrelated, and we throw them into a situation where they've got, well, I guess the Robinson family was related, except for old Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
And of course then Don had the Robinsons' beautiful tall daughter Judy chasing after him all the time, so hey, his space trip was fun.
What a deal. Yeah.
And then of course there was Land of the Giants where nobody was really, their poor little orphan kid and his little dog and the rest of the dumb people on there. Of course, there was the big guy.
Mr. Fitzhugh, that was Fitzhugh. What was Fitzhugh? Was he like a?
He was sort of the Dr. Smith of the group because he was the real negative kind of person.
But I'm just trying to figure what was his real thing there. He had all this money in that first show where he was trying to get away from somewhere, and then he got out there and he lost it all. What? They never really explained exactly what he had done.
Land of the Giants used to scare me, and I didn't watch it for a long time when I was little because they would come on and say Land of the Giants, and that was enough to scare me right there. I was like, oh, this is scary. So I would like go hide in my room until it was like safe to come out.
Land of the Giants. Scary TV. Ooh.
Well, when you're 5 years old, everything's the Land of the Giants anyway.
So that's Land of the Giants, another one of the great Irwin Allen. But it's basically the Spindrift, which was the little ship they were on. It's like